Good evening to all. How's everybody doing? Thank you so much for joining in. This is a special broadcast, which I'm not going to put it private. I'm gonna watch a lot of what I'm saying, and I am going to watch what I am about to say. You know, what we have done in covering all that we have done. I never thought in my wildest dreams that I was going to be able to do that. Never thought that I was going to be able to be sometimes standing in front of God in Jerusalem, or be in Jordan, in Petra, or being in a war zone with my mentor in Ukraine, or be in Lebanon and these difficult areas, cross jungles. Never thought that I could accomplish that. I'm watching videos of this generation right now. And this video, I want to, I wish that I had the possibility to cross to the United States of America so I can be publicly speaking to people to not make mistakes and how to bounce back from mistakes. And, everybody knows what I went through almost 20 years ago in my past. There's no reason to go ahead and say it again and again and again. But, you know, it's amazing how this generation does not value how important it is to live in the United States of America. They do not value the opportunity. As a matter of fact, today they condemn the United States of America. They burn the flag of the United States of America. They attack the United States of America. You know, I don't have. I can't say the opposite, but what I can say is that when somebody like myself that I committed an offense and a federal offense inside outside of the United States and I was detained, then I was deported to Mexico. I learned my lesson immediately. Immediately, I learned my lesson since I was inside of that two by four cell. I learned my lesson immediately. I was 26 years old. Now I'm 46. It's almost 20 years ago. And you know, I'm 45. I'm turning into 46. I wish that I would have. If I wish one thing that I could have, it would be to return back to the United States of America. That will be my wish before I die, because I would have shown my son that everything can be accomplished, and also I can provide a future for my son. And imagine these kids right now that they're not raised by good parents. The problem today in society, and I will say this openly and with all honesty, back in the day when we were young, we did not have social media. We did not have internet. We did not have all these accessible things that you can have today, and that it can completely change your life immediately. And back in the day, you had to go outside, play with what you had. You had to be a man and man up. All the time there was some fist fights. There was, the scaffold, this being young, enjoying life, instead of sitting down and a parent looking at a child and say, shut up. You don't shut up, I will give you your tablet. And that way you will shut up. And that's the reason why you have all this new generation, all these Hassan Pikers that they're condemning the United States of America, all these Antifa, all these Black Lives Matter activists, all these people All these people that they're mentally unstable, that they believe that they can be a dog, that they believe they can be I don't know, a cow, that they believe that they now all of a sudden they found out that they were a boy and they were born a woman. You have all this, ludicrous things that are happening, and it is because we forgot to be good parents. I haven't forgot. God has blessed me with all these experiences in life, so my son will not commit the same mistake. And it is sad where the generation of the United States of America, which used to be an example for the world. You remember all those commercials from the army, be all you can be. Everybody wanted to join the army. It was really difficult to get into the army. It was really hard. I used to go to the Delmar show, Miramar Air Show, and my dad used to tell me, what do you want for your birthday? And I said, he used to tell me, hey, you know what, I can take you to Disneyland. We saved up some little bit of money, or I can make you a carne asada. Like I always ask my dad, I have the privilege to still have my dad, not my biological dad, but my dad. And he's my dad. I love him. And he tells me and like all the time, he's 60 plus years of age. I think he's 66, 65, 66. And the guy still has his grill. And all my birthdays, he pulls out the carne asada on the grill. Every birthday. I don't need to ask him. He's like, tomorrow, Saturday, your birthday's on Wednesday. I'll see you Saturday, son. Always his carne asada with his beer on the side and no phones. Says, leave your phone over there. We need to talk. And we talk about politics. He's my great teacher for learning about politics. He's a Reagan Republican. He's old school. But, where I'm going is that it's we're losing the root and the importance of raising a good child, a good kid. We're forgetting about that. And that is where the government, the state, these politicians are penetrating and are intoxicating our children with their ideas that they believe that that is the choice, that they believe that that is the reality of our world. We're forgetting about God, forgetting about pleading for help. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to ask for forgiveness. It's okay to be responsible for your mistakes. It's okay. And we're forgetting about that because now, even when they made a mistake, they're thinking that they're not wrong, that they have never been wrong. They feel it's so entitled. This new generation can condemn and say the F word to the flag of the United States of America, the greatest country that has ever existed in this planet. Burn that flag, go outside, protest, riot, say the F word to law enforcement. I wish that that can go back to the late 80s or early 90s and see how their reaction will be. Our weekends was playing beach at the volleyball, playing volleyball at the beach, surfing. Weekdays were, I remember when I was young, I used to come back. I used to surf a lot since I was really young on bodyboard. I lived close to the beach area all the time, and I used to take a bus to take me to the beach. And that was my mom. Can I go out? It was not my mom. Can I go out and I can play with some guns because there were no guns. We're not allowed to have guns. But in the U.S. now you have this accessibility to. It's not against the Second Amendment, but the kids. It's stupid. This irresponsibility, drugs, all these new biordia things that it's crazy. And when you understand what we had before, it was so beautiful. I miss that. I really miss that. I really miss not having a phone in my hand and immediately saying, I want to visit a friend. I got to walk. We didn't have an obesity problem. We didn't have that much cancer. All this technology is sucked into our lives that is completely making us lazy. And back in the day, we had to walk to go to a friend's house. If he was there, well, if he was not, I'll wait. So I remember going to the beach, on the weekends, on the weekdays. Well, I finished my homework. I can go out. Yeah, it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Go and see the sunset and surf for a little bit. Then get outside, play some football on the beach. Those kind of things, is really difficult to find right now at the beach. The beach are lonely now. The beaches are empty. A lot of the basketball courts in the some of them are full. Some of them are like you got two to three people only playing. That's about it. The streets were we didn't have to have a soccer post. We had two rocks. You could put one on the right, one on the left, and let's play in the middle of the street. We used to play trompo, yo-yo, chinchileguas. All these games when you were so young that they keep your mind busy and not keeping your mind busy with rioting, looting, doing all this crazy things, thinking about that possibly I'm a man, possibly I'm a woman. I don't even know what a woman is. They got too much time to think. They got too much. And the liberals are going to say, no, we are more informed now. We got accessibility for internet for you, what you're doing. You're speaking on a microphone and sometimes thousands of people are listening. And you're right. Yes, you're absolutely right. But that doesn't take away the fact that too much is too much and that your life is really important. Forgetting about raising kids, I was watching this Hassan Piker video. This young kid, communist, socialist kid, a lost soul. Really, he's lost, possibly. And he's just effing the United States, effing this, effing that. And you're like, wow, man. I remember that back in the day, we used to make a long line to get a tourist visa. And when they gave you your tourist visa, you were like, man, I can go now to Costco. I can go now to these stores, the Ross, Marshalls, Toys R Us. When Toys R Us used to be around, can go to Six Flags Mountain when I'm in high school. I can go to Disneyland with my family. All these things, they're not important for a lot of these young kids. The most important thing for them is to riot, loot, destroy, identify as a man or identify as a woman. It's sad. It's different. It's different and sad. You got the other generation, like myself, that we have made horrible mistakes. I learned from mine. If I had an opportunity right now to get $1 million or to cross that border legally, I'll say keep your money. But Oscar, with $1 million, you can keep your money. I'm going. If I had that opportunity, even 20 million, I don't care. I'll cross that border legally. Let me demonstrate what I did to that country that it was wrong. Let me demonstrate what I can do for them now. This is why I'm so still more stubborn against all the radical left, because I have gone through the obstacles and the horrors of life. And I know that if you commit a mistake or if you commit a crime, staying in a 4x2 cell like me for 4 years, and then all of a sudden you don't have anything, it's difficult. It's hard. And for you to go back to think that it's because of the system, it's because of the state, it's because of the policies, it's not because of them, it's because of you, man. It's because of you. It's because of all of you. It's not because of nobody. I want to show you guys something. I was preparing this. I bought this 1 year ago, still unpacked. I wanted to, and I still have the dream to be publicly speaking. I don't have the equipment, the speaker, and the what is it called, the projector, to be publicly speaking and motivating kids to not make the same mistakes, and how you can be a good man, or how can you accomplish all your dreams like I have. Still unpacked. Look, it's all full with dust. There's two microphones and a console. You know, a lot of things, these young kids today, they don't realize how much potential they have, how much potential they can have. How I wish that I can change a lot of minds and a lot of hearts. First and foremost, you have to change the heart. From the heart, that everything goes, everything falls into a place, and they can understand. The United States of America is going through a process right now. It's really difficult to see it like this. I never seen it like this in my life. Never in my life I ever seen the United States go through this process. A process that it is so divided. And I remember when we were young kids, I love my country of Mexico, but we learned the anthem of the United States of America accidentally. And I will tell you why accidentally. Every time that it was the Olympics, all that we heard was the American anthem. Every time, every time it was the American anthem. And you had to memorize it because it was you see in the United States, and you're still like, oh, man, I want to be a winner. I want to be that. I want to be a winner. I want to be just standing like that, like Carl Lewis, winning so many medals. Like all these people, admirable athletes. And now these kids take that for granted so much. I wish that they could switch places with me, and they can understand how much you're missing out. You're missing out on a lot. You're going to miss out on a lot of opportunities. We struggle over here 2 to 3 times much harder than you. It's easy in the United States to live. It's hard because don't want to make it easy. There's always a way. In the United States of America, you always have this opportunity that there's always a way. There's always a way. There's always a way to get a job. There's always a way to make money. There's always a way to have somewhere to go. You have the power of your passport, beautiful power of your passport. There's always a way, and these kids, they don't value that. I remember when, I had my resident card back in the day, and I remember the first car that I had with California plates, and I was so proud. I was extremely proud. Why? Because that dream of crossing the border with California plates, I said, one day I will do that. Those little kind of things, a lot of these young kids, they don't even understand. They don't even value this. I remember my car was a Toyota Corolla. It was a 2002 or 3. I don't even remember. It was a Honda. I think so. It was a Honda Civic. 2001, 2, something like that. Man, I had that Honda. I had that Honda like nobody else, man. I was cleaning that Honda every day, in the morning, in the evening, and when I got home. I used to clean my car. That used to be my baby. Used to be my little, used to take care of that. These young kids, they don't value, man. You guys need, until you lose something, you're gonna value what you have. Until you lose everything and you're somewhere where you cannot have the accessibility that you had, you're gonna regret, insulting your country and insulting your flag. You're going to regret that, and bad. Was recently in Venezuela in June, to be exact, the 28th of June. Was covering the earthquake. There's this story that I want to do when I publicly speak. Hopefully, I don't know when. And you know, I was uh, I was in a area where there was this complete collapse building, right? And this building that it was completely collapsed, um, there was these rescuers from Mexico, really famous, called Los Topos Mexicanos. And I was standing there talking to one of them. Then all of a sudden, woman around her late 40s, around that, my age, 48, 49, a little bit older than me, came over and said to one of the rescuers, like, hey, we need help. I just need to get my husband out. He said, if I go over there and I pull your husband, he's going to blow up. He's going to explode. Um, just hold on. We're going to get the machinery for it to get it out, but it's taking a little bit. She said, it's been 2 days. So it's like, I understand, but I can't. If you go over there, it's going to blow up in your face. Don't move anything. So I was just saying, this is for these young kids in the United States, man. This is for you. So I was looking at the woman and I said, are you okay? And she started crying immediately. She said, no, my husband is stuck over there in the concrete, in the collapsed concrete, and there's no way to get it out. And she started crying. I started getting emotional of seeing her cry. So I said, man, I need to help you. It's like, have you gotten any water? Have you had any something to eat? She said, no, I'm thirsty. There's somebody selling waters, but we don't have no money. Everything was in my husband. So I went outside. I had a little bit of cash. I bought waters. I bought food. And she was there with me. And I said, well, where's your husband? It's like, you see that kid over there? And it was like a 12-year-old kid. And I said, yeah. She goes, that's my son. I said, what is he doing over there? He's standing, kneeling down, looking at his dad. I'm like, what the? Why? He said, well, he can't look away. So I said, do you mind if I talk to him? And she said, no, go ahead. So I went over there. I walked slowly. When I walked slowly, I got to him and I put my hand on the on his shoulder. If I asked what if he was okay, that would have been a horrible question, right? So I just said, God knows why, and only God knows the way. And he looked at me, he was some 12-year-old kid. And I looked to the front where he was looking, and it was his dad. The body, half of the body from the waist down, it was out, collapsed building, and the other half was in the building. You cannot see the body. The whole part of his legs were bloated up. If you touched it, something little like that, because the sun was hitting, so they put like a tarp so it would not explode. So he looked at me and he was looking at the body and he says, "That's not my dad." And I looked at him and I'm like, man, I almost I I pulled my strength together. I said, I'm not gonna cry. And he said, that's not my dad. My dad is my hero. That cannot be my dad. That cannot be my dad. My dad is my hero. And that is when I started crying. Because I personal experience, right? I never met my dad only once when I was 5 years old. And if I had the opportunity to meet my biological dad, I will hug him and I will forgive him and I will say, Dad, you don't even know what you have been missing, man. It's a whole life of experience. Let's sit down and talk. Let me make you some carne asada. Let me buy you a beer. Man, the beautiful thing about forgiveness. And he was looking at his dad and he's like, that's not my dad. You know what that taught me? I learned something from that I saw myself in him because I know where my dad, my actual father, is buried. So sometimes I go over there and I visit him. I go over there and I visit him. I clean his where he was buried, and I put some flowers and I talked to him for a little bit. But I saw myself in him because he started telling me, my dad taught me everything in life. And I said, "Oh, really? Tell me a little bit about your dad." It's like, my dad taught me how to change a tire. My dad was a good carpenter. He taught me how to cut wood. I used to work with my dad in the weekends, and he used to pay me money where I can go outside with my friends. My dad was a great dad. He's my hero. He was strong. He was big. You know, this is that was a learning experience for me. What I accepted and what I understood from him is that he knew at that moment that his dad, his hero, the most important figure in his life, it was not going to be there anymore. He knew exactly at that moment that he was going to turn from a boy into a man. He knew exactly at that moment that everything that he taught him to do in life, those were the principles and all the tools that he needs to survive and to go ahead in life. All those little talks, all those little trips that he took, all those weekends that he gave him money for work. Now, because of that, he had to understand that that person right there was not going to be existing anymore, and that he was going to turn into a man now. Now he understood, and he was sitting down looking at his father buried under the concrete in a collapsed building and looking at it and saying, I need to be a man now. Thank God that I had a good dad to teach me how to be a good man. Thank God that I had a good guidance. Thank God that he taught me how to cut wood. So I know now that I got good hands to be a carpenter. I know now that I can be honest working man and work like my dad. I know what it is to bring food to the table. I know his struggles. I know how to be condescending and give money to people when they deserve it. I know now that because those were the teachings that he had. And at that moment, he completely changed and he accepted the fact that he was not a little kid anymore. He had to be an adult and he had to be what his dad taught him to be, a good example. And guess who's looking at him and saying, guess who is looking at him and saying, I'm proud of you, man. I'm proud of you. I'm looking at you. I'm proud of you. I'm looking at you and I'm proud of you because I know what you have done. And I know that you're going to do well. And I know that you're going to be honest. I know that you're going to be hardworking. And I know that you're going to make mistakes in your life. You're going to make horrible mistakes. But you're going to make yourself a good man. Nowadays, nowadays, we don't have that. This is why you have a youth and a generation of carton and crystal that they do not value their father. They do not even value their mother. They do not even value their brother or their sister. They don't value One thing that their father tells him, like, "Hey, man, did you cut the grass?" "Ah, come on, man. It's Sunday. I've been the whole week working." And like, you don't even imagine. Possibly he wants to cut grass with you and he wants to talk to you and he wants to give you some advice. Those beautiful times, they're valued, man. You don't get those twice in life. And these kind of generations nowadays, they do not value that. They do not respect their father. They do not respect their mother. They do not respect their home. They don't even respect themselves. This is why you have all this disaster. They forgot about God. They forgot about everything. It's unbelievable. And when you forget about the principles of life, you start transforming into an individual that is full with hate, is full with resentments, is full with envy, is full with desire to destroy, is full with all of these horrible things. That is what is fully contaminating that beautiful country of the United States. Until they take away all the privileges and until they take away all the beautiful things that they have, you will understand, like I did. Chingao, como no? Like I did. Difficult, hard. Yeah, it is. It's hard. Yeah, it is. It's not easy. No, it's not. But that needs to happen to a lot of these young kids. I don't wish them bad. I don't wish them harm. No, 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 absolutely not. There needs to be an awakening to all of these kids who they are so privileged to be on a microphone and be speaking all of these atrocities against a beautiful country like the United States of America. Like in Mexico, you have all these other kids that also speak, atrocities about nothing is going on and nothing is happening when it's completely the opposite. It's difficult and it's hard. This generation needs to completely change. Um, needs to completely have a drastic change. Drastic. Like you guys don't even imagine. A lot of these experiences, uh, they're so valuable for me in my life. They have been so valuable. And also to see now how, the schools, the teachers, look what is happening in WNBA. Royce White, it is a guy that works in the network that I work. He's a good guy, great guy. Now I got to say he's a great woman, because what he's doing is something heroic, what he's doing. He's putting his integrity and he's putting his name and he's putting his capacity and he's putting everything at stake to make a point how demented and how damaged these people are. They don't understand what a woman is. They're having so much of a debate in that league that they want to make it okay for trans people, males, thinking that they're women, participating on male women's sports. And they think that it's okay. And they think that it's something that is reliable. And they think that it's something that is they think that it's okay. They believe it. They strictly believe it in their hearts. This is the new generation of people. I was watching a TV show in Spanish. I don't watch these TV shows. I don't watch the TV, by the way. I don't watch it. But I was with my mom and my mother was like, "Oh, have you seen the Casa de los Famosos?" And it is the house of the famous. It's called. It's like former people that they used to be famous, and they put them all together in one house, and they do all these activities, and then they eliminate one, and they bring him back to the house, and it's this all the stupid stuff, right? Like Big Brother. but it's former famous people or influencers that they're famous at the same moment right now. And I'm looking at the participants. The last winner was a trans individual who, you know, in public hours used to do all these crazy stuff when young kids are watching, when, these minors are watching. And it is progressively going into a normalized stage because now the new program, this House of Famous People, now they have another trans and they have two people that they identify as non-binary. So this is becoming something that is progressively growing into. You have to understand that this is actually happening. And if you don't, you will be judged by all the community and by the world. When did we become so cowardly, outspoken? When we became like that? But this is not okay. Remember back in the day in the 80s or 90s when you understood that somebody was trans, it was looked at like, no, man, you're not good. Like, okay, you want to be that, but it's okay. I don't have nothing against trans people. I really don't. I have a couple of people that I know that they're trans. I do not have nothing against. When I talk to them, both of them, they identify now as a woman. One of them, I talk to him like he's is his name. His name is Ernesto. I don't call him by his name that he changed. No, I call him by Ernesto. And he accepted that because I said, you know what, if I know you and I knew you from this name, your name is this. I don't know this person. So don't be mad if I call you Ernesto. And he's like, go ahead, Oscar. I don't care. But it's getting to be a normalized stage where all the kids now, particularly it's growing in the United States of America, where this is becoming so normal. And I go back to how our generations were before. Our generations were about not trying to find some time to see what I can be as identifying in a male body or in a women body. If you're overweight, that's you, man. You better lose some weight because that's good for your health. If you're brown, that's you, man. If you're white, that's you. If you're black, that's you, man. If you're Asian, that's you. If you're Arabic, that's you, man. That's you. There's no reason why you have to hate yourself. God created you beautifully the way you are, and He loves you so much, and He understands you so much, and He's willing to forgive you, and He's willing to take a chance with you, and He's willing to walk with you, and He's willing to tell you all these beautiful things. Your body is a temple, it's beautiful. So we need to really understand the seriousness of this transformation of the youth of the United States of America is extremely confusing, man. I gotta say it. I'm really confused. Before you didn't have time. We didn't have no time to think about things and to go out there and have the possibilities of thinking of things. We had time to do productive stuff. Now it's not the same. It's completely different. Really, really different. And I believe strongly that it's everything the problem goes to the parents. The parents need to understand that the number one priority it is family. It is their home. It is their kids. It is not a tablet. It is not a new phone. It is not, do you have internet? It is not that. It is, you have to raise your kids well. And we have to go to the notebooks. What are they teaching you? Whatever happened to the question, what did you learn in school today, son? Do you actually think that parents nowadays ask that question? Let me just know in the comments. Do you actually believe that some of these parents now they ask their kids, "Hey, how's school? How are you doing in math? How are you doing in English? How are you doing in science and chemistry and physics? Do you score a goal today? Do you do exercise today? Hey, you like a girl, huh?" How many of these parents ask these normal questions? These are normal conversations that you should have with your son at a table, sitting down and talking to him. It's not something crazy, not something out of this world. These are normal conversations that you can have with your son or your family. A lot of these people, they do not have that conversation because they give them the tablet, they give them the phone, they give them the internet. They do not spend time with their family, with their sons, with their daughters, specifically a daughter, a woman. It's more difficult now to raise a female because of all the toxicity that is in the internet, all this toxic information that is in the internet is contaminating the minds of these people. And the principal things that you were raised upon, those things are clearly washing away. That's why our generation, the people that they are right now in their late 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, even 70s, this world cannot wait for us to go. They cannot wait. It is a matter of time for us to go. And it's a matter of time for us to leave this planet. And they cannot wait. Why? Because the new generations that are coming, they're, so glorified by these radical individuals. They follow them. They ideologically admire them. AOC's, Rashida Tlaib's, Ilhan Omar's, Mandami. They follow these people. And that's the new generation that is being raised upon tablets, phones. Obese is okay. Being fat and obese is okay. Not doing exercise is okay. Eating wrong, eating so much carbs is okay. Eating late, buy a burger at Jack in the Box at 12 o'clock at night. That, by the way, I'm not even going to lie, they're really good. It's Monster Tacos. I used to buy them. I used to buy two Monster Tacos when I used to drive. The job that I used to have used to be driving from Old Town, San Diego, all the way to Long Beach, Manchester Avenue to be exact. I took the 5 and then the 405. Late at night, I used to buy two Monster Tacos with some fries and a big gigantic Coke. I'm sorry, I used to do it, but not every day. Not every day. It was not my food, but it was really good. These kind of things, they're wrong. They're not okay. They're It's not okay to be like this. And it is getting to a point that everybody thinks that it's normal, that it's okay, that it's normal, it's normal, it's normal. So the next generation that is going to be raised upon the 2000s and the 20,000 and something, it is going to be raised upon believing that it's okay to be a boy. If you want to be a woman, just, you know, the inclusive language in schools needs to be added and that needs to be educated. And it is a principal thing. So before we start the classes, be sure to be addressing me as a non binary. Abortion is okay. Even if it is, they're going to say, even if they are going to say, even if it is in 9 months, like the inhuman individual in Massachusetts, Governor Healy, these kind of things are not passively growing. They're growing massively in schools and in different areas where it's getting more difficult for people to have access of real information because everything is blocked, everything is eliminated. So the only information that you can get and the only information that is reliable and the only information that is alive, it is not a book, it is you. So they cannot wait to get us out of this planet, man. They cannot wait to eliminate a lot of us because they know that the next generations are the ones that they're going to learn their notebook, not us. We know that everything that they're teaching, it is completely incorrect and goes against the God's law. But for them, no. That's why the other day, and I'm gonna close with this. The other day, I said, if there was an election today to be held in the United States of America, and in the ballot, you had not even a Republican or a Democrat. It was just God and Satan. And you ask a liberal, who will you vote? Or you ask a communist, or you ask a really misguided kid, who will you vote for? And they will say, what is God going to offer me? Are you kidding me? You're negotiating with God. That's how bad we are right now in society. That's how bad we are. That's how bad. Understanding the level of that question will lead you to understand what kind of individuals and how toxic and how polluted and destroyed our generation is. Because when you ask that question, it's like, well, it's exactly of what is a woman. When you ask, it's not a gotcha moment. It is just a reality of who you are. How are you going to prefer or negotiate with God? And if you come with a justification to say, I don't even know if God exists, well, that is the lost soul that you are right there. We got a lost soul right here. Let me grab your hand. I'm not the guy that is going to guide you to heaven because I'm also a sinner, but I can guide you to where you can actually, get the manual of how to do it. And it's called the Bible. It's really simple. It's not hard. God bless you all. Thank you so much for joining in. August 13th. The time is 8:49 in the evening. Outside of this box of YouTube, it is my Buy Me a Coffee link. I will greatly appreciate if people want to contribute to my independent reporting and travel fund. Um, we're having some struggles over here, but we're doing it and we're trying to do it the best that we can. Um, it's good talking to you guys. I would like to do more of these talks with you guys and talk about, you know, what is going on in the planet nowadays, right? And also, it's good to have a conversation and we can relate about these topics because it is important to talk about them. Um, and I really want to say to everybody, bless your homes and bless everything that if you're having a right now dinner or you're about to have lunch or whatever you're about to have, just bless your food and may God provide you with more food in your refrigerator and everywhere you go. God bless you. Thank you so much for this opportunity to speak to you guys. Stay safe. Like we always say, God's plan, it is our mission.